Too Pretty to be Aboriginal is a 2018 short documentary by Sasha Sarago that highlights the negative repercussions of the statement, "You're too pretty to be Aboriginal." Throughout the analysis of the film, the content, style and mode of the film will be examined to determine how they work individually and collectively in this documentary. The content of the film revolves around the topic of the ingrained white ideal in society and the negative repercussions of having this misinformed knowledge, particularly for Aboriginal women. It touches on a bit of the history behind the negative preconceived notion of Aboriginal beauty, as well as the personal stories of those who have been labelled too pretty to be Aboriginal. The stories presented in the film are shown through a series of interviews with Aboriginal women from a diversity of backgrounds, with very little cutaway and B-roll footage. Sasha's choice to deliver these responses with minimal overlay or cutaway footage is reflective of her style, and indicates that she wanted to show the raw and authentic emotions of these women, and the negative toll the phrase, "You're too pretty to be Aboriginal," has on them. In doing so, this helps viewers form a personal connection with these women, making the message much more resonating. Another key feature of the film is the utilisation of India's story to push the narrative of the film. India is an Aboriginal woman who is also of British descent. Her story is a reflection of how the horrible assimilation that occurred in the past had resulted in her lighter skin. This story forms the backbone of the film, as we hear her story in an interview and later follow her as she prepares for a photo shoot. The focus on India's story over the others signifies the importance that Sasha has placed on the audience's understanding of the dark history surrounding the more whiter and prettier Aboriginals. The style of the film is heavily influenced by Sasha's personal experience, being of Aboriginal descent, and her sense of justice surrounding the treatment of the Indigenous community. Sasha had no formal film experience prior to making this film. However, her career shows that she has been well versed in the Indigenous community and is a proud Aboriginal woman. Her pride for her Indigenous roots and want for a more fair representation of diversity in Australia is well versed in her stylistic choices to make a serious yet hopeful stance in this documentary. We see this in Sasha's choice to have a black background for her interview subjects. This focuses the attention on her interview subjects and forms more of a dramatic tone. This highlights the opinions of each interviewee, reflecting the importance of the topic to Sasha. Another stylistic element in the film is the inclusion of a scene where India goes along to a photo shoot. The scene, being shot handheld and following the action, gives a casual tone and a sense of personal intimacy within the scene. This, combined with the white walls and natural lighting in the room, shows hope in a personable way. The scene is a direct contrast against the black backdrop and the heavy topics spoken about in the interviews. It forms a break against the tough topic and shines a light on a brighter future for Indigenous people. This creates a serious yet hopeful tone of the film, which is distinctive of Sasha's filmmaking style. The content of the film, being informative and a reflection of the truth, indicates that the film has elements of the expository mode. We see this represented through the inclusion of the professional opinion of Dr. Liz Connor, a historian at La Trobe University. This professional advice provides a source of credibility to the argument, giving rigour to the documentary. The sound in the documentary, being expressive and cognitive, is also another feature of the expository mode. We see this in the piece of camera of the narrator, selected responses of interviewees, and non-diegetic music. Secondary to this, elements of the observational mode were also included in the film. This is shown in the scene when India is getting ready for her photo shoot and she's speaking with Sasha. However, the presence of the audience is not acknowledged. This fly-in-the-wall approach is distinctive of the observational mode, and allows viewers to form their own opinion and views around a subject, as opposed to being told what to think. Despite the film having elements of both the expository and observational mode, the primary mode of the film is participatory, as the filmmaker Sasha is included within the narrative. Though subtle, the participatory elements in the film are reflected in the piece de camera at the beginning and end of the documentary, and Sasha's response to one of India's statements in her interview. From the analysis of the film's mode, it can be said that whilst the film includes elements of both the expository and observational mode, the film's primary mode is participatory. According to Kaggle, documentaries are often a mix of Nichols' mode, and this hybrid tends to enrich a film's value. In this documentary, this adds value by creating a balance between being authoritative about the negative implications of the phrase, "You're too pretty to be Aboriginal," but also letting viewers form their own opinions and ideas around the topic. Through the participatory mode, viewers are also able to learn from Sasha's experience in the documentary. Overall, the unique style that Sasha brings to the film influences the type of content that is shown, and the mode that we see this through.